Sorry.
am rolling.
Barbara Carlson's Tomb of Repressed Memories brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1518, April 7th, 2025. 83 degrees, the record high on this day. That was back in 1991. 6 degrees in 1936. And I shall note, on this day in 1923, almost 9 inches of snow.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
Minnetonka had ice outs on this day in 1925, 1929, 1935, and 1988. White Bear Lake went out on this day in 1931, 1976, 1988, 1991, and the year 2004. So there you have your ice outs for today. How is everybody?
Have you repressed that memory of Barbara Carlson's hind end up so close?
I never was. I never had to be involved in that. Okay. I never saw that.
Okay.
I would not have wanted to.
Okay. Thank you. Just let the record show.
I would have found that to be terribly unnerving.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Some good news on the tariffs. The New York Post.
Are we in tariff corner?
No. I had a pretty good chat with a younger fellow in the financial world on Sunday.
Okay.
And he didn't insist on it, but he has educated hopes that these tariffs won't last more than 2 weeks, and they're strictly done to make deals. The idea that a new manufacturing plant is going to spring up in Springfield, Illinois in the next 2 weeks, that's not doable. That's not reality. But this is his way of cutting the deals with all these companies. I believe Vietnam has already done a deal. And so I'm if I'm not entirely calm about it, I'm not going crazy about it. Mm-hmm. If this works and he swings all these deals, bing, bang, boom.
But is the end result to get Nike to stop manufacturing in Thailand, or?
Well, that's the public face of this, but I think the best he's hoping for is to reduce the tariffs that are applied to Nike and us from Vietnam.
Got it.
Yeah. Where was I? Oh, the New York Post.
Tariff talk. Call me now.
They believe that the tariffs on nearly all imports will save Americans or rescue Americans in their war on clutter. In other words, we have too much stuff. We buy too much stuff. And this will put an end to buying too much stuff. Prices on cheap products manufactured in China and Vietnam are sure to go up as a result. So the silver lining, the Post reports, for Americans is that they can finally start to win their war on clutter and rein in impulsive spending habits. That would apply to me as one who, as a complete sap, falls for these products that I see on the interwebs.
There's already, I don't know if you guys saw this over the weekend, there's already an advertising campaign based solely around that very subject.
Really?
It's time for the House of Cheap Crap's first annual blowout sale. Blowout sale. There's no better time and no better place. 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. And with the economy in free fall, what more reason could you possibly need to buy in bulk? Buy in bulk! Only at the House of Cheap Crap will you find lint screens made from the used pantyhose of women throughout Gumption County. Only at the House of Cheap Crap will you find recycled paperweights, actual stacks of used computer printouts on all sides, and tied with a colorful bow made from used wrapping ribbon. Used wrapping ribbon. Only at the House of Cheap Crap Where do you find our striking mobiles, made by Liberal Lakes artisans from CDs, DVDs, rescued from the Euphorian sanitary landfill. Hang in the great room or over the baby's crib. Remember, at the House of Cheap Crap, it's all cheap and it's all crap. The House of Cheap Crap. Visit our new Garage Logic outlet store on Curmudgeon Street. The House of Cheap Crap. Cheap crap. Cheap crap. Cheap crap. Cheap crap.
Now
Highly
that
produced.
is highly produced.
When was that done? Long time ago.
Yeah, when we were doing well.
When we were making
voice
money.
is reminiscent of somebody. Who were you doing there?
I don't know, but I just threw that equalizer in there, so I had that.
But that
Guy
voice reminds me of somebody.
That was some cheap crap. Not Bob Lang.
Well, no, it was a little Jesse-like.
Yeah, I was
Maybe.
thinking Jesse
Yeah,
right away.
Yeah,
Jesse.
maybe.
The
Yeah.
House of Cheap Crap.
Well,
All I know
speaking
is
of,
the House of Cheap
you mentioned the
Cannabis.
artist. No, you mentioned the artist of Liberal Lakes. It reminds me of a little art story that Reavers alerted me to. I was unaware of this. There's a painter who did the portrait of Donald Trump, apparently for the Colorado state capitol.
Yes.
And apparently Don got a look at it. And he said it's truly the worst thing he's ever seen.
He wasn't digging it.
he really didn't like it. So the Don said, "This is you got to do this over. This is terrible."
He went straight to ding ding.
Oh, this is a ding ding painting, and I'm looking at it. It looks vaguely like him, but no, he's right. This doesn't look like him well enough to be hung in a state capitol. Her name is Sarah Boardman. And she said that Trump's now ruining her career, to which Reavers was wondering what possible career did she have.
It's
There's a
terrible.
picture over here and some of the other things she's done, and we're in the ding-ding area.
Really?
Yeah,
I
kind of.
don't think it's that bad.
I know. I'm like,
No,
what?
but for a painting for a state capitol, that does not look like him.
You know, what he looks like is a guy that just got out of the dentist office. That's what he looks like.
Yes, and he looks like the guy who does Trump on Saturday Night Live.
Shane Gillis.
No, the Shane Gillis doesn't.
Yeah, it does. It looks like, you're right, it looks like a Trump impersonator.
No, there's a current guy on
It's a
SNL
Trump
who does the
impersonator.
Trump
Look
character.
that up.
And I don't know who he is, but he's not bad. He's not as good as Shane
A
Gillis.
lot of
but he's
people
not
say
bad.
ding ding.
Yeah. So this poor
When I saw
woman,
first saw it, I
she's
said, ding,
beside
ding.
herself. And Trump even had to write about it. He said, nobody likes a bad picture.
James Austin Johnson
Whatever.
is the current cast.
Nobody likes a bad picture or painting of themselves, but the one in Colorado in the state capitol was purposefully distorted to a level that even I perhaps have never seen before. Oh, Don, it's not that far off.
Purposely, I wouldn't say that.
Gee whiz.
I mean, he doesn't have an arrow through the head or anything.
Right.
Or
No.
black eye or something.
And she's a Colorado Springs-based artist. She's accusing the president of calling her intentions, integrity, and abilities into question. Boardman had previously completed portraits of George W. Bush, a district court judge, military personnel. She said she will not be commenting further on her practice, her art practice, because she got $10,000 for that from a GoFundMe campaign. But she's worried now.
They
that
didn't
this
get their
is-
money's worth.
This
Yeah.
is really
Even then.
If you go, she's done the past 6 presidents for Colorado.
Yeah.
If you go look at the last 4,
I'm not going to.
well, they look good. But then
Okay.
the Trumps, the Clinton, the W, and the Obama
Yeah.
look very almost lifelike. But
Okay.
you see the Trump in it.
Do you think she was maybe having sport?
No, you know what? Maybe her heart wasn't in it.
Okay. Oh,
You
that's what I
know,
mean.
I don't know what he's complaining about. There's an actual photograph of me that, turn around, Joe. Turn around. Look at that photograph of me.
Jeez.
See, now, that's something to actually bitch about.
Yeah.
Did you have that done to your mouth, or did you do that by
The
accident?
artist that painted that, I'd like to have a word with that person.
We have new books having to be removed from the U.S. Naval Academy's library after Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, that's Forest Lake's own,
Yep.
ordered the school to get rid of books that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. I just want to be on record as saying I'm opposed to that order. That's all.
Okay.
the Navy late Friday approved or provided the list of 381 books that have been taken out of the library, including Maya Angelou's autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And you have to, we got rid of books about the Holocaust. We got rid of books about the role of African Americans in World War II.
That's silly.
We got rid of a book called A Respectable Woman about the public roles of African American women in the 19th century in New York. We got rid of that. And we got rid of a book called Pursuing Trayvon Martin about the 2012 shooting of a black 17-year-old in Florida that raised questions about racial profiling. I've been through this before, and I'm going to try it again. All right?
Take a swing.
Diversity, equity, and inclusion is a modern affectation of the failed academy. It is extraordinarily recent to our culture. It has nothing to do with the lives and the credibility of black people and Jewish people and pink people and red people 100 years ago.
Okay.
That DEI wasn't in the lexicon then. Anything a black woman achieved should be noted because the odds were stacked against her. And now you come into the modern era, and because the because the achievements were once stacked against a black woman, once stacked against her, the failed academy came up with this BS called diversity, equity, and inclusion, which only arbitrarily and capriciously assigns the same outcomes to people based on their race, based on their gender, based on their sexual preference. That is what's wrong. There's nothing wrong with a book in the Naval Library about the Holocaust. For God's sakes, these people, they don't know what they're doing. They got it wrong. Now, and so I'll put in the caveat. These are probably all books, once the fuss is raised in the country, like it is being right this moment, they'll probably be put back in the library. We just went through this with what? Code Talkers and Tuskegee Airmen, and all of whom had nothing to do with DEI. Nothing. DEI is what they do at places like Hamlin and McAllister. Well, any failed academy. Right. That's DEI, not this. So I read this in the Sunday paper and cut it out just to mention it because this is obscenely ridiculous.
Maya Angelou?
Maya Angelou. Books on the Holocaust, histories of feminism, civil rights, and racism, and Maya Angelou's autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, were among the nearly 400 volumes removed from the U.S. Naval Academy Library this week after Forest Lake's own Pete Hegseth's office. Now, it could be that malicious compliance, too.
It was Naval Academy personnel that removed them. Pete didn't go in with a bunch of thugs.
No, but it was Pete's order. So
right,
the order
correct.
comes down the chain.
Correct.
And so are you dealing with a guy who's saying, well, I'll show Pete. I'll get rid of these books that should not be gotten rid of.
I don't know. That's not clear in the AP story.
No, of course it's not clear, but that would be called malicious compliance. In any event, I predict and I hope that virtually all of those books will be restored to the library where they belong. So I don't understand that. I wanted to get that off my chest.
So do they think that there's a naval officer candidate that's going to go grab Maya Angelou, sit down in the library, and thumb through that?
Well, we know that Pete, Secretary of Defense, gave the order, purge our operation of DEI stuff. So this is what they consider part of the DEI purging, and I'm wrong. I'm trying to explain to them. DEI that you're after, I know what you're after, and you're right to be after it, but this ain't it.
Yeah.
This ain't it.
This is not it.
God almighty. I have two things. We talked last week about the new licensing requirements for teachers when it comes to practicing social studies teaching. And it's very heavy on the DEI BS. That's what should be eliminated, not Maya Angelou's book from the Naval Academy Library. And I got 2 emails from teachers. And let me just see whose name I can use and whose I can't. I certainly can't use this fellow's name, so I'll start with his letter. Joe, each year I get closer to retirement from entering the belly of the beast. I had positive impacts on those wanting to be teachers, and I love my work, pushing back every day. I'm forwarding you the email I sent to you in October of 2023. All right, maybe I should read that first. Here's from October of 2023 from the same fellow. Joe, it's been a while since I wrote. I'm a mole, so don't rat me out by using my name. If you follow the link below, I'll take you to the newly revised Standards of Effective Practice for Teachers Licensure in Minnesota. The Minnesota legislature passed them last year. Just more of the 2023 legislative debacle. You won't find the academic content knowledge requirements of teachers in there. Those are in a separate document. All Minnesota teacher licensure programs must revise their program curriculums and demonstrate where our teachers in training, 1, learn, and 2, are assessed on these standards. We're required to deliver our newly revised programs starting in the fall of 2025. Okay. I wonder if you will pick up on any prevalent themes in them. Good luck. Without all of you on your show, life would be much more difficult for me. Thank you for all you do. He's a teacher, he's a professor who works to prepare teachers in Minnesota. Now back to the current letter. I'm forwarding you the email I sent back in October 23. We just read it. You've been reading the American Experiment's wonderful coverage of the ethnic studies licensure requirements. Sadly, everyone is missing the big picture. You're talking about one license when there's bigger things afoot. The Minnesota Teacher Licensure Standard of Effective Practice, SEP, were revised to ensure every single person who works to earn a teaching license from the state of Minnesota is brainwashed and forced to present their lessons from a woke agenda philosophical perspective. You'll find the link below in this email. To be clear, every single person applying for a Minnesota teacher license will be required to demonstrate their ability to put these standards into practice in their teaching before they can get a license. Read through them. You'll likely want to hit the end of the world sounder if you use this on the air. Then you can follow it up with the hopeful liner. No, there are a few of us fighting the fight, pushing back daily from within the system. We impact individual students every class we teach. Be well, signed, whoever wrote this. Now, what he's talking about is what we were talking about late last week. There's a House file right now. There's a bill on the floor of the legislature to prevent the enactment of these new regulations that were established in 2023 and are to go in effect this autumn, 5 months from now or whatever. Okay. And the bill is to prevent that. We went through them. They're all these young people trained to be teachers are supposed to look at everything now through the lens of colonialism and imperialism and white supremacy, and the founding of the country was flawed. And there are reasonable people like the first emailer who's fighting against this, pointing out the absurdity of it. And then there are others in the Walz administration who just can't wait to bring this about. Walz brought on board to help create these a fellow who is calling for the overthrow of the country. We've been through that. Right. Now, a second email, also from a teacher. Let's see. She's a friend of ours. We can use her name. She's a friend of ours named Julia. I've met her. I don't know if you guys did. Julia, I'm not going to say her last name. She said, I didn't know you could be so good on the April 1st podcast. regarding teaching licenses, but you were above average, Mayor. Although for the first time in about a decade, I may get to play off-site correspondent for y'all. I am fact-based. Number one, for several years, Minnesota teachers have been instructed to teach social studies standards that are bogus, from kindergarten to graduation. Our standards outline multicultural and diversity standards that often make minorities angry. An example, 30 years ago when I attended a state university to become a teacher, a professor told us as white people we should be open to black English. I happened to be pals with a black student at our university and still recall him being insulted by the professor's demeaning instruction. Well, it's a big effort to make less then. Number two, in order to relicense every 5 years, we are instructed to participate in a multicultural continuing education course. There are cultural perspectives that I embrace as a white woman that I would not understand had I not been taught from a black or Hispanic person's point of view. But when the instructors begin to preach about systemic racism, I lose respect for them. Again, fellow colleagues who boast darker skin than me often feel the same way. How can we be part of an entire system that is racist? How do we measure this? Finally, allow me to address the American Experiment's article about a licensing proposal to analyze social and human relationships with the natural world through indigenous, pre-colonial, decolonial lenses. This proposal should read as, a certain number of woke college students should attain a pretend teacher license to police the rest of us. They will, without reason or fact, be able to analyze if their colleagues who do not have this license are seeing indigenous people through a pre-colonial point of view. As you shared, these young graduates will be taught to hate our founding fathers and the United States of America, and they will in turn be instructed to teach students to hate America. In addition, they will watch out for common sense teachers like myself who have taught for 30 years and who use our time wisely to nurture and teach all of our children, regardless of the color of their skin or if their backgrounds are different from our own. House File 29 should be passed to oppose this policing and hateful nonsense. On a similar note, our governor and his cronies are now considering cutting funds for non-public schools tuition and busing. You may want to contact St. Paul's government to let them know your positive thoughts about Catholic schools, Mayor. Never afraid to push back and grateful for Garage Logic, Julia. I hope the bill passes. I hope we end this. This is outrageous. It's ridiculous. It's not education. It's indoctrination. There's not a doubt in my mind that this is indoctrination to the Mysterian way. And I guess you could say, and that's why.
You could say that.
You could say, and that's why
I don't have the pipes.
Trump got elected.
I don't have the pipes.
That's why. That's why.
And that is why Trump got elected.
I love that guy.
But it'll probably pass.
I don't know. It'd be criminal to do this to children. It's criminal it's criminal for all children. It impacts all children equally. I was going to say it's more criminal for black kids, but not really. The white kids are left standing in the corner thinking, how evil am I supposed to feel? Why am I bad? Why am I evil? And the black kids are made less than because they're being told, well, you can't make it in this world unless we bring this about.
Well,
it's a complete disregard of freedom and humanity.
Nobody's disagreeing with that, but let's face it, it's going to pass.
Well, there is lots of talk now about DEI, but the battle in Minnesota is these radical ethnic studies. This is for the Center and the American Experiment. Walz and his crew at the legislature put into place a radical form of ethnic studies to go along with their new social studies standards, and you're not going to like it. The core tenets of Ethnic Studies Center, a power analysis of race, activism, and resistance. The law also mandates all subjects must be taught through this divisive ethnic studies lens. Ethnic studies in gym. You heard that right. There's a bill to reverse all this nonsense that needs support. Our friends at the American Experiment are leading the effort. Go to radicalrepeal.com. radicalrepeal.com, and send an email to your legislator and the governor. You don't want first graders having to identify examples of ethnicity, equality, and liberation and construct meanings for those terms.
Agreed.
They're not up to it. These are our friends, the Center of the American Experiment.org, and right now they want you to visit radicalrepeal.com.
This guy wears many hats, just not indoors. Joe Souchere.
Seafoam is a wonderful product in a world of bad gas. Cars and trucks account for the majority of Seafoam use. Small engines represent the rest. Consider it cheap insurance against injector issues and huge shop bills. I was looking back in the history here of Seafoam and GL. We first started with Seafoam started with Garage Logic in January of 2021, and my truck had just hit 91,000. As a part of my long-term maintenance program, I've been feeding her a dose of Seafoam a couple times a month with the hopes of keeping it clean and happy and out of the shop. 4 years later now, that truck has finally hit 169,000, and I'm happy to report she still purrs like a kitty, runs wonderful. Seafoam is available everywhere, so don't worry about trying to find it. Your local Knack hardware store, they'll have a few cans. Convenience stores, gas stations, big box, little box, grocery stores, bait shops. I've seen this stuff everywhere. It's nationwide. It's a wonderful product in a world of bad gas. It's our best friend, Seafoam.
Okay, yesterday I emptied the gas, most of the gas, out of the snowblower.
Oh.
You optimist, you.
You're going to jinx us.
Yeah.
And I then went to my chem shelf and got my can of Seafoam. There was about 3/4 of a can left. I dumped it all into the snowblower.
There you go.
And then started it.
There you go.
Thinking...
she smoked a little, didn't she?
Just at the start.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, it'll conk out in 5 minutes.
She keep going?
That son of a gun ran for 25 minutes. I sounded exactly like all the neighbors I've shaken my head at for the last 30 years because it sounded like I was running her completely dry. It ran on 3/4 of a can of Seafoam for 25 minutes.
Dang.
And then it finally shut off, and I was satisfied that if that doesn't take care of the carburetor, nothing will. So
how did you get the gas out of the tank?
Dumped it on the ground.
You tipped it over?
Tipped it over.
I have discovered.
And it wasn't that much euphorian, so I don't think the world's going to end, so don't worry about it.
I wouldn't worry about that. I think for $30, I bought this cool siphon stick thing that runs on a battery. You stick it into the tank.
Well, that's
hit a
pretty
switch,
cool.
And I used it for the first time this year, and it's the first time in 59 years that I haven't got a mouthful of gas.
Oh, good.
I've been told these things have been around for years and years and years and years.
Oh, yeah, I should do that.
Yeah, they're really cool. I wanted to make a correction on something I said when we went into the break. I said it wrong. I don't think that bill will pass. That's the way I should have
A
said
bill
it.
to kill these new social studies standards you think will not pass.
Given our political climate in this state, I don't think it'll pass. I really hope it does pass, but, you know.
Well, these phonies don't care about children if it passes, that's for sure. I'm sure they don't even think about the effect of this on children. Let me see. Let me read you something. I mean, Third graders would have to study solidarity movements with their teacher, asking questions like, how do institutions like schools oppress groups based on race? So you turn to little Sally and Johnny and the black kids sitting there, and you say to the kids, how do we oppress people? You're in third grade. You can't tie your shoes.
No. Well, hopefully by third grade, yeah. But
Sixth grade studies. Sixth graders would study how race is socially constructed and drive around the Twin Cities area to look at the murals and artistic pieces combating racism. Well, okay, well then make sure you stop at George Floyd Square to see what a wonderful, wonderful aesthetic accomplishment that's become.
right.
What a bunch of BS. Kenny, the bill better pass to repeal this, and you think it won't. I'm sorry, you're probably right. I mean, your sentiments are correct given our political leadership.
Yeah.
God almighty.
That's a lot to put on a kid.
Well, it's cruel.
Yeah.
All the little kids I know are innocent kids. They're pure of heart.
Right.
They have no problem with race. They're in schools with Asians and blacks and Hispanics and
Muslims
Somalis
of all-
and
yeah, of all
Muslims.
kinds.
Who are you
Yep.
kidding?
Yep.
What do you learn in third grade? You're learning.
See Jane run.
Well, they're probably a little more
That's
advanced than that.
probably
They're
second grade,
Oh,
but
whatever.
it's not
maybe
far
some
past
science
that.
experiments or something
Yeah,
like
you're
that fun.
cutting out construction paper and making mobiles, and
And sixth graders, they're worried about hitting puberty.
Well, I don't think they're worried about it. I mean, it just happens.
Well, it's when
They're
it
looking
starts,
at the
then they're
calendar.
corrected.
I can tell you, seventh graders have a few
Snapping
questions.
bras, you know.
Hey, Dad, how come?
Yeah,
Say
you don't need to know yet.
Our friends at Alpha News won a very nice little battle. The Court of Appeals ruled in favor of Alpha News today. They were requesting to get the body cam video from when Senator Nicole Mitchell, the cat burglar, was arrested. Well, how about that? The Court of Appeals reversed a district court denial of Alpha News' request to release police body cam and dash cam footage related to the arrest of State Senator Nicole Mitchell. The appellate court said the district court may have used too narrow a definition of public benefit when it ruled against Alpha News, and so it sent the case back down for district court to reconsider the request using a broader legal interpretation. The appellate court excuse me.
Perfect health.
The appellate court clarified that a benefit to the public under Minnesota's Government Data Practices Act is not limited to just preventing unrest or aiding police. It includes any useful or helpful impact for the public, like promoting transparency or helping people hold elected officials accountable. She certainly hasn't been held accountable as a public figure, or as a official.
Not at all.
So now Alpha News gets another shot. The lower court must reevaluate whether the footage should be released, this time recognizing the public's interest in holding a sitting senator accountable is qualifying as a valid benefit to the public. I couldn't be happier on behalf of Alpha News. Of course it's a benefit to the public. We need to know how this fruitcake acted. She sits there holding her Senate seat.
Right.
Because the Democrats, of course, they need her. They can't afford to get rid of her. Okay, so I happen to agree that it's in the public interest to know what it was like when she was arrested. It might be rather entertaining.
I'd like to look into that a little more.
The cat burglar, dressed all in black.
I'm not very good at this, am I?
Above the 8 and below the 7.
What's that cop show that's on every weekend on, is it on Reels?
Cops?
No, HBI runs it. I think Stan has that show, right?
Rockford Files?
No, it's On Patrol or something.
Patrol Live or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
That's the one that the local
Fletcher's?
Fletcher does.
No, that's the local one. There's a national version. It would be a lot of fun.
It's called On Patrol Live, Kenny. There's a billboard for it out here by the bathroom.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun to see that thing, to see Nicole show up on that show. That'd be awesome.
Do you think she?
I'm not very good at this.
Do you think she bought the outfit, or do you think she already had all the gear?
Oh, where do you go for that sort of
Yeah,
apparel?
I mean, do you buy that on Amazon?
Well, it's
no,
just a
Chris.
black.
No, House of Cheap Crap has got it fully stocked.
no,
Wasn't
Chris,
it just a black jersey and some black pants?
we should have those available in the store at the at our
On the website?
no, what is the name of our college where we teach criminals how to be criminals?
The Gumption County Institute for the Criminally Incompetent.
Those kind of clothes should be in the gift.
Like at our bookstore.
And when you when you graduate,
You could buy a coffee
it's a gift
mug.
pack. You get the gift pack, a starter pack.
Something to paint your face up, the thing that the ball players put on their face.
Yeah, the eye black.
Yes.
I have ventured the suspicion, however vaguely or however casually. Well, not only the suspicion, but my wondering just how deep the food fraud went into higher levels of government. I have not said that I think anybody's like, I don't think Walls is stuffing his own pockets with money.
Okay.
I've said that.
Yes.
But I've wondered, the frauds are so routine, so regular, so efficient in terms of them being fraudulent, that I wonder who knew and how up the ladder did people know?
And at what point?
Yeah, and there's more coming out of the trial that might help. An audio recording of Attorney General Keith Ellison was included on the exhibit list of Feeding Our Future's Amy Bach trial in the recently concluded trial, recording with Keith. It was not introduced during the 6-week trial that concluded last month. A trial that resulted in guilty verdicts. Do you see where these characters want to be declared innocent now? Yeah, good luck to you. A trial that resulted in guilty verdicts on all charges for Bach, founder and CEO of Feeding Our Future, and her co-defendant, Salim Saeed, co-owner of the Safari Restaurant of South Minneapolis, and in Saeed's own words, if you want to be in politics in Minneapolis, you got to go through the Safari. During Bach's trial, it came out that the nonprofit executive had a habit of surreptitiously recording private conversations. Bach's exhibit list for the case includes more than 1,000 items, few of which were actually introduced at trial. 3 of them were described as recordings, including the one under Ellison's name. None of the recordings were introduced as evidence. The significance of the above is that all of the evidence produced in Bach's and a previous Feeding Our Future courtroom trial is available to the remaining defendants in the case for use in their defense. 3 of those defendants were in court this morning. When was this?
Wasn't it Friday?
Friday.
April 3rd.
Those were defendants number 63, 64, and 65. The trio is part of a larger group of 7 defendants, 63 through 69, who were indicted in late January 2024. For manageability, the group of 7 has been split in 2. This group of 3 is looking at a trial date in the December-January timeframe. The lead defendant for this group is number 63, Ikram Mohammed, a former Feeding Our Future employee/consultant. She is paired with her brother Suleiman and her sister Aisha. They are numbers 64 and 65. In today's status conference, the big item of discussion was discovery. Prosecutors are finishing the process of transferring the evidence collected in the recent trial to this batch of defendants. And some of the evidence applies to the new defendants directly. What are we going to learn? Exactly, I skipped a page, but I have it right here. Ikram's name appears on the government's Bach trial exhibit on 5 occasions. She also appears in the prosecution's closing argument slide deck in 2 instances. During the trial itself, Suleiman's company, Star Distribution, was mentioned on several occasions in open court. Bach's exhibit list does not mention ICROM or Star Distribution, but it does mention Keith Ellison. The apparent date of the recording, December 11th, 2021, has significance for several reasons. 9 days later, on December 20, Ellison reported receiving a maximum $2,500 campaign contribution from Feeding Our Future defendant number 69, Gandhi Mohammed, n.k.a. Gandhi Kediye. Gandhi is another brother of Ikram. The same day, Ellison accepted a $2,500 donation from Jamal Hashi, another individual connected to the case who has not been charged. Ellison accepted a third donation that day from another figure whose name came up in the first feeding trial, but who also has not been charged in the case.
Coincidental, I'm sure.
Well, he's reporting it.
Yeah.
Ellison's December 20, 2021 fundraiser appears to have been conducted jointly with his son Jeremiah, a Minneapolis City Council member.
Wow.
Well, just stay here, folks.
Keep
the old mayor
going,
might have been on the right track.
Keep going.
The younger Ellison also collected checks from defendant numbers 63, 67, and 69 at the same event. In addition to those three, Jeremiah also collected checks from 5 other individuals later indicted in the case and 4 other figures linked to Feeding Our Future but never charged. Among Jeremiah's donors back in 2021 was Salim Saeed, Bach's right-hand man. Exactly 1 month later, January 20, 2022, the FBI conducted its famous raid, shutting down the Feeding Our Future operation. Shortly after the first batch of indictments were handed down in the case in late September of 2022, Keith Ellison sent out a press release touting his involvement in cracking the case.
Dun, dun,
The
dun.
press release began, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison and his office have been deeply involved for 2 years in holding Feeding Our Future accountable. I don't think that's truthful. Deeply involved. 2 years before September 2022 places us in September of 2020. Yet in December of 2021, Ellison appears to have taken a private meeting with one or more Feeding Our Future employees, and afterwards he took campaign donations from individuals linked to the case. If the elder Ellison, Keith, was deeply involved, then why did he take a maximum $2,500 donation in May of 2022 from another soon-to-be indicted figure in the case? In September of 2022, defendant number 36 in the case and later guilty plea number 6, the indictment against Alshire frequently mentions the role of his Hutto properties. But we are left with many unanswered questions, Alpha News is. What's on that Ellison recording? Who's on the recording? Where was the recording made and by whom? What is the link to Amy Bach, and why did she believe that the recording was exonerating for her? If she thought the recording was exonerating for her, I'll ask another question. Why didn't she demand that it be presented as evidence in her trial?
True.
Maybe
You think she was told?
I was just going to say, maybe she was told not to.
You think maybe there's some... Okay. I'm beginning to feel vindicated for my suspicions. My suspicions are that this much fraud and this much money would have been known to some of our elected officials. Not saying anything. I'm just saying.
What would be their reason then?
But
for
how can
sitting there?
Ellison get away with saying, boy, I'm a crackerjack state attorney. I'm deeply involved in this. Why was he then accepting money from them?
Well, this is all just a case of everyone's trying to cover their own rear end. That's why he was saying that.
And if Amy Bach thought the phone call recorded with Ellison, we don't know who it was between, could have vindicated her, why in the hell didn't she have her lawyer use it? And what will be found out when the new defendants, who go by numbers, what will be found out when the guys in their 60s, 63, 64, 68, and 69 get in there and say, we want to hear this recording?
Do you want wild speculation?
Why
Sure.
not?
Because that's all I can give you. Is she's taking a hit?
Sure sounds like it, doesn't it?
She's being a good soldier, and she's taking a hit.
She's the
my
fall
wild-
guy.
That's my wild speculation.
Okay, that's wild speculation. I'm not going to use the word speculation. Mine is suspicion. Suspicion all along that something this massive had to go deeper than a bunch of clowns waiting tables at the Safari Club or whatever the hell that restaurant's
You
called.
got to go through. You want to be rich, you got to go through it.
Yeah. God, I wish this would blow the lid off all these frauds in the state capitol and get rid of them.
It's taking too long.
It really is.
Come on, let's go here, man.
Come on, man.
We just want some kind of victory.
Oh, man.
Any kind.
Say, I want to talk to you about South Dakota, most principally Sioux Falls. South Dakota is one of the most business-friendly states in the country, and there's no better place to settle down and take advantage of those incentives than Sioux Falls, the state's largest city, a growing metro population of more than 290,000 people with low business costs, unlike here, and a high quality of life. There's no state corporate or personal income tax, no inheritance tax, no limits to what your business can achieve. Oh, man, most popular place to live, to move to, according to top10.com. 50 best places to live for families, according to Fortune. The fastest growing Midwest metro, the U.S. Census Bureau. One of the best places to raise a family, Wallet Hub. Entrepreneurs, welcome. What a refreshing attitude that would be, to be governed by people who appreciate your hard work and your business. You can find out everything you need to know at one word: SiouxFallsDevelopment.com.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
1982, that's a long stretch. If you want the best lawn on the block, go with ProTurf. They've been at it since 1982. They're busy right now sending out their experienced service techs to prospective clients to assess lawns and then customize a slow-release fertilizer and weed control plan that's not only environmentally safe, but it's guaranteed for superior results. You'll be the best in your neighborhood. That means no crabgrass, no dandelions or broadleaf weeds. Just log on to professionalturf.com. Sign up for that free lawn care analysis. And hey, by the way, when you're there, surf around a little bit. Check out their amazing landscape projects and ProTurf services irrigation systems too. So if you need yours woke up for the season or repaired, put to bed in the fall, go to ProTurf. Exceptional lawn care, landscape, and irrigation service. Check them out. Schedule that free lawn care estimate right now at professionalturf.com.
Here's John Haidt in the newsroom.
Thank you, Joe. This news update brought to you by North American Banking Company. Police are still investigating, but they say a man in Minneapolis died at the hospital after being found unresponsive along with 3 others from a suspected overdose. First responders were called to a report of multiple people who were unresponsive inside a home on the 3400 block of 3rd Avenue South around 9:45 Saturday night. 4 men were brought to the hospital. 4 suspected overdoses, where one of them, a man in his 30s, was declared deceased. The other 3 men were treated for overdoses, according to police. Police say at this point they have no other information on where the drugs came from. All Blue Plate-owned restaurants are closed today to honor the life of co-owner David Burley, who was killed Sunday afternoon after a vehicle crashed into his motorcycle in St. Croix County, Wisconsin. The Wisconsin State Patrol says the crash happened near Hudson around 2:45 in the afternoon in the westbound lanes. Authorities say a car tried to overtake traffic by using the right shoulder when it hit a guardrail, then went back into the right lane where it hit Burley's motorcycle. That collision caused both the car and motorcycle to move across the road and crash into the concrete barrier located in the median. The 58-year-old Burley was the only person on the motorcycle. He was taken to an area hospital where he died from his injuries. Meanwhile, the car's driver was hospitalized for non-life-threatening injuries. The driver, identified by the patrol as Andre Matthews of Brooklyn Park, was taken to Regents Hospital in St. Paul. The patrol said alcohol use by Matthews is a suspected factor in the crash. Charges against him are pending. In a Facebook post, Highland Grill, which is owned by Blue Plate Restaurant Company, said Burley was the heart and soul of Blue Plate and made everyone feel welcome. Blue Plate says the restaurant closures will allow team members to grieve and to honor Burley. The company also owns Groveland Tap, Longfellow Grill, The Lowry, The Free House, The Blue Barn, Edina Grill, and 3 Squares.
Did you know him, Rook?
I did. I knew him very well. He wasn't close friends, but he was best friends with my former childhood friend, Craig Hassel, who was the GM at the Tap. And he was not only one of the hardest working guys ever, he liked to play hard too. He was really fun, and he was really good to his employees. That company's going to miss him big time. He's got kids too. That's sad.
So a drunk driving the wrong way on the shoulder wipes him out.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's just...
Well, unfortunately, when you're on a motorcycle, you lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, no margin for error, like you used to say.
No, that'll be
well, he didn't do anything wrong, and he lost.
No, by anybody on the road. Update to a story we've been talking about. The Robbinsdale School Board will be discussing that $21 million budget shortfall tonight at its first meeting, since announcing last week that 200 staff members would be laid off. That includes 140 teachers, 42 certified staffers like counselors, and 3 assistant principals, among other positions. In a letter to the community, Superintendent Terry Stalock said the layoffs would save the Education Service Center $2 million, and staffing reductions in the schools will amount to $13 to $15 million. In addition to the staffing cuts, Stalock said the district will likely operate fewer schools in the near future. School officials are expected to talk about all this when the morning bell rings 5 minutes earlier for elementary and middle schools and 10 minutes earlier for the high school. That comes as the district's transportation budget will be cut by over $700,000. Walk zones for elementary and middle schoolers would also change by about a quarter mile. That school board meeting, Robbinsdale, begins at 6 o'clock tonight.
Have all schools already had their spring break? And second part of the question, do the schools take their spring breaks at different times?
Yes.
Yes, no, and yes. They usually go through Easter, and yes, they do take them all at different times.
Okay.
A teenager fell through a grate at the abandoned Ford plant Saturday night,
Right where we were.
Jeez.
Yeah.
plunging 20 feet down into a basement, according to St. Paul fire officials. It happened about 8 o'clock Saturday night. The St. Paul Fire Department dispatched its technical rescue team to the former Ford plant at 965 South Mississippi River Boulevard after a caller reported the teen had fallen into the basement and was unable to walk, according to St. Paul Fire Deputy Chief and Public Info Officer Jamie Smith Sr. When crews arrived, they found the teen by accessing the ground level door. The teen was conscious and alert with multiple non-life-threatening injuries, was taken to a local hospital. No technical rescue was required, according to Smith.
I wonder how he got in.
The way I picture it is they found him where you and I walked in, and he came from above somehow.
Wow.
Yeah, how do you fall through a grate?
He removed the grate, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
Why don't we take a quick break? We'll have some national, international news right after we hear from Mr. Reavers.
Thank you, Johnny. I should probably turn my microphone on to do this spot for North American Banking Company. Banking done differently is the simple yet very effective philosophy at North American Banking Company. I made the switch, and I'll tell you why. I was tired of being a number to my big national bank, and when I walk into any one of the 6 Twin Cities locations of North American Banking Company, they take the time to get to know you, your family, your needs, your business, if that's the case. And that's why they're the best. And you'll be very happy if you decide to take your business to North American Banking Company. They offer all of the services as the other big national banks, whether you're looking to buy a home, finance a new home renovation project, or get that new car that you've been thinking about. They offer the same online and mobile banking options as the other banks, but the key difference is you're going to get the unparalleled service of a community bank, and they are locally owned and operated. Here's why that's important. That means loan decisions are made right here in the Twin Cities. They are not sent out of state. So this helps you business owners solve problems quickly and expand your business with confidence. They deal with numbers every single day, but you will never be one of them. So your first step is checking them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. Once again, it's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender.
The Earth is not your mother. The Joe Souchere Show.
You know, people, your furnace has been working overtime this year, and it should be rewarded. It should be rewarded with a nice little tune-up once you're going to put it down for the summer season there, and make sure everything is working properly. But the people at Ray and Welter, online at welterheating.com, would love to service that unit for you, or get your air conditioning unit up and running for the season. 612-825-6867, local number in the Twin Cities here, and a actual person answers that during business hours. Or you can make an appointment online, go to welterheating.com. Garage logicians work there that are certified and are going to give you the utmost honesty they possibly can. I've worked with Welter. They've done things in my home, and I hope that you will trust their 4 generations and their 116 years of work. They do a great job. They have fun with their ads here on Garage Logic. Rick and the whole crew over there do a good job. They just want to get the word out. They're trustworthy. They support Garage Logic, and they're local. welterheating.com. Warm up your shelter or cool down your shelter with the fine folks from Ray and Welter. Johnny?
Thanks, Rook. In national and international stories, stocks, a little volatile today. They started with another big drop after the Thursday and Friday bloodbath. Then they picked up a bit. Then they saw some more deep drops. And as of right now, actually, 2 of the 3 main indexes are in the positive. The Dow Jones is down 78 points as of this hour. The NASDAQ up 171 and the S&P up 32 points. Meanwhile, President Trump, golfing over the weekend, says he took breaks from the links to talk to tech leaders and politicians around the world about the tariffs. Asked on board Air Force One about the catastrophic market reaction last week to the announcement, Trump said, sometimes, quote, you have to take the medicine to fix something. So,
what does that mean, President?
Some Republicans criticizing this whole thing. Elon Musk even getting into the fray at this point. He criticized one of President Trump's main economic advisors on tariffs, Peter Navarro. In a post over the weekend on X, Musk ripped Navarro as someone who, quote, ain't built bleep, and shaded his Harvard PhD in economics as a bad thing, not a good thing.
Gee whiz.
Well, Elon's lost $30 billion so far. Yeah.
You know,
at some point, it just becomes a number, huh?
It's a number, yeah.
Wouldn't it be fun to be sitting in the hallway listening into an argument between Trump and Musk where they're just really going at it? Just
Musk is gone now. I mean, he's done, right?
I think so.
He's done, but he's never going away. That's my theory.
Meanwhile, Senator Rand Paul.
Wouldn't it be fantastic to hear them dragging out dirty laundry and bringing up stuff from years ago? I remember back in '98 when you were just suckling at blah, blah, blah. God, it would be awesome.
Meanwhile, Senator Rand Paul, the right-wing firebrand, in some ways an unlikely figure to go against Donald Trump's agenda, but the senator from Kentucky is issuing a stark warning to his fellow Republicans. He says if Trump's tariff policies don't turn out the way they want them to, it could lead to a generational political loss for the Republican Party. And he's raking in surprising praise from Democratic colleagues. How often has that happened? Rand Paul being praised by Democrats as he pushes back relentlessly on the airwaves and the Senate floor against what he describes as Trump's executive overreach and infringement on Congress.
You know what I found interesting was reading the articles about how much the auto workers and union members love the tariffs, which is just such a weird. We're in a real weird spot in this country right now.
Up is down, down is up.
I mean, the conservatives who used to hate Elon's electric cars now love them, and liberals and Democrats that loved them now hate them. I mean, the whole world is upside down.
Crowds of people angry about the way President Trump's running the country marched and rallied in scores of American cities Saturday, the biggest day of demonstrations yet by the opposition movement. What are you giggling about, Ken?
I wish I had the Kleenex account for that rally. All the tears that were shed and the gnashing of teeth and the ringing of the pearl clutching. Oh, my God, it would have been fun.
So I heard somebody quoted, a woman, nothing worse than a white woman liberal, say that we have to deface Teslas. They want us to deface Tesla so they can call martial law on us. I don't think we've gotten that far off.
Doesn't really work like that, does it?
Was Marshall spelled Marshall?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So-called hands-off demonstrations were organized in more than 1,200 locations in all 50 states by more than 150 groups, including civil rights organizations, LGBTQ plus advocates, veterans, labor unions, and elections activists. The rallies appeared peaceful with no immediate reports of arrests.
I told this to Joe already, you guys, but I was driving from Mankato back home on Saturday, and we were driving through St. Peter, 169.
College town.
These people, there was plenty of the prematurely gray-haired 42-year-olds.
Yeah.
They were in the road, like on the highway.
Chris, they're upset. They're very, very upset.
As I said to Joe, all it takes is for one of these truck drivers on that road not to be paying attention and kapooyah.
Right.
What I like are the ones who say, "Well, we have to protest. We're
huh?
What? No. Never mind. I can't remember what I was going to say.
Malfunction.
The roommate was trying to tell me that a lot of these protesters were paid protesters and that they wanted to know where to turn in their bills for mileage and eating and et cetera, et cetera. I asked her to provide proof of that, and I got no reply. So
I don't think so.
Yeah.
All I know is I went for my Cathedral Hill walk. I picked that as my route Saturday.
Yeah.
I couldn't find a parking spot
Oh,
because everyone parked up there to walk to the Capitol.
See,
oh, what happened
that's
to your
the
white
whole-
privilege?
I didn't have any.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Anybody know anybody that went to any protests?
The roommate ran down a list of what she calls former friends that were there. As far as I know, that I think they're still friends with me, but just not her.
Any makeshift props or anything like that were?
I don't know about that.
Okay,
Matthew.
got it.
You guys probably wouldn't be surprised. I had a lot of friends this weekend.
Yeah, were they, John? Were they musician types? Because that's what she read off. A bunch of musicians.
Most of them, yes. Several weren't,
Yeah.
but I would say if there were 15, maybe 10 of them were musicians.
I forgive musicians. They don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
So that's okay.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Joe, I would just like the record to show
Yes.
that I'm the only one that was remaining silent.
Oh, gotcha.
Let's go here with the news.
Okay, yeah, let's move along, shall we? Yeah.
Let's get the old news going.
Hey, what's the next story, John?
How's that market doing?
Second child has died amid an ongoing measles outbreak in West Texas and the surrounding region. Officials confirming over the weekend an 8-year-old girl in Lubbock succumbed to measles-related pulmonary failure. The two victims, both reportedly unvaccinated, part of a local Mennonite community, are the first confirmed measles deaths in the U.S. since 2015. Of the 670 cases reported this year, almost 90% are linked to the outbreak straddling West Texas and eastern New Mexico. 97% are in unvaccinated patients or those whose vaccination status is unknown. So major flooding continuing across the U.S. Midwest and South because of storms that have claimed at least 17 lives as of yesterday. Days of severe storms have caused rivers to swell rapidly, prompting the National Weather Service to issue flash flood emergencies from Texas to Ohio. At least 45 river locations in multiple states are expected to reach major flood stage, causing widespread damage to infrastructure, homes, and roadways. Indian police have arrested a 24-year-old American YouTuber who visited an off-limits island in the Indian Ocean and left an offering of a Diet Coke can and a coconut in an attempt to make contact with an isolated tribe known for attacking intruders.
Oh.
Wait,
Kalo?
I know about this island. Please keep
Yes,
going.
it's
Yeah.
very
We got
interesting
tariffs
story.
on this island?
full of penguins.
But there were some great penguin memes on Facebook this weekend because of the one island being declared.
Now, John,
Yes.
finish this story. This is very interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, it
that's
is.
a good one.
Mikhailo Viktorovich Polyakov is from Scottsdale, Arizona. He was arrested March 31st, 2 days after he set foot on the restricted territory of North Sentinel Island, part of India's Andaman and Nicobar Islands, in a bid to meet people from reclusive Sentinelese tribes, according to police. A local court last week sent Polyakov to a 14-day judicial custody. He's set to appear again April 17th in court. He could serve up to 5 years in prison and have to pay a fine. Visitors are banned from traveling within 3 miles of the island, whose population has been isolated from the rest of the world for thousands of years. The inhabitants use spears and bows and arrows to hunt the animals that roam the small, heavily forested island. Deeply suspicious of outsiders, they attack anyone who lands on their beaches. In 2018, an American missionary who landed illegally on the beach was killed by North Sentinel Islanders who apparently shot him with arrows and then buried his body on the beach. In 2006, the Sentinelese had killed 2 fishermen who had accidentally landed on the shore. Indian officials have limited contacts to rare gift-giving encounters, with small teams of officials and scientists leaving coconuts and bananas for the islanders.
Sure.
Indian ships also monitor the waters around the island, trying to make sure outsiders do not go near the tribe, who have repeatedly made clear they want to be left alone. Police said Polyakov was guided by GPS navigation during his journey and surveyed the island with binoculars before he landed. He stayed on the beach for about an hour blowing a whistle to attract attention, but he got no response from the islanders. He then left a can of Diet Coke and a coconut as an offering.
There you go.
Made a video on his camera and collected sand samples before he returned to his boat. On his return, he was spotted by local fishermen who informed authorities, and he was arrested in Port Blair. A case was registered against him for violation of Indian laws. Police said Polyakov had conducted detailed research on sea conditions, tides, and accessibility to the island before he started his journey. An initial investigation revealed he had made 2 previous attempts in October last year and in January, including using an inflatable kayak. Police said Polyakov was drawn to the island. Was drawn to the island because of his, quote, passion for adventure and extreme challenges, and was fascinated by the mystique of the Sentinel.
It would have been fun to have him record his own death and getting eaten by these islanders.
So we can only conclude that he didn't die because he was not seen.
Correct. And
Right.
Kenny, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't think they're cannibals.
I'm seeing Ursula Andress walk out of the surf and onto the beach like in the James Bond movie.
If you go to that island, you don't come back.
Where would I look on a map for this island, John?
It's in the Indian Ocean.
Indian Ocean?
It's one of those out there.
Just like the gods
You
must
can
be
find
crazy.
them. You can find it.
But my question is, are you familiar with the Aiken area? It seems like every lake around and south of Aiken has an island or 2 on it.
Yes, I am.
Could I get one of those islands, and then anybody who comes on my island, I could kill them and eat them?
No, you could not.
They don't eat him, Kenny. Stop it. They buried the guy they killed on the beach.
It would be the
Did you
rumor,
guys?
John. I just want to spread the rumor.
No, this is so fascinating.
I am creating aluminum jobs for the future.
A Diet Coke.
In other words, they've had no influence from anyone. They've just
Correct.
and they've achieved nothing. They're
No ambition.
And guess
no
what?
ambition.
They're happy.
Well, I was going to say, are they? We don't know. They must be.
I was thinking about what about that bright little islander that's thinking, looking beyond and thinking, I want to get off the island. I want to see the world.
What would compel the looking beyond if you don't know anything else except that island?
Because he's looking at the sun come up, he's looking at the stars and saying, "There's something else out
Looking
there."
at
for me."
Twitter.
Yes,
But boy, the sun. I mean, so they're seeing airplanes go over.
they see boats go
They
by from
see
afar.
ships go
Yeah,
by.
but these goofballs shoot arrows at planes. They think that's going to stop.
What
them.
the hell? That's
You
nothing
got to do
else to
something.
do.
There's no TV.
The chief concern for that kid.
Yeah, my fear is that
right.
the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
We
The
don't,
problem.
I don't think so.
We don't anticipate that.
The problem is the tremendous amount of inbreeding that must go on that island.
Yeah, hang on.
Yeah.
Well, it would be tough to find a date, wouldn't it?
Are we related?
You think you got the new guy
We're
comes to the
definitely
island?
related,
He's something new, fresh. Bunga
You are
bunga.
you're my sister, my cousin, my aunt, and my mom.
Wow, that's a tough Thanksgiving.
I just looked. There's about 150 of them, it appears.
Well, that's
See, even the Amish let the outsiders come in for a night of fun just to keep the line, pure.
Right. But coconuts and bananas.
So with these people,
Right.
you're not going to see a kid in a Chicago Bulls T-shirt because they're not.
No,
they're
because
not
they
allowing
don't
anybody
make
in.
they don't make those T-shirts with 3 arms.
No, they are
Yeah.
there are. This is the tribe. We've all seen the famous picture of the guy with a bow and arrow shooting at a helicopter.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's these guys. I didn't know that was these guys.
Oh.
There's the picture right here. 2004 it happened.
Yeah.
After a tsunami, they went to check on him and sent some helicopters just to make sure. Immediately the guy started to run after the helicopter.
Okay, let me ask you a serious question. I don't mean it to be cruel. Why in the hell are we checking on them? The hell with them.
Just leave him be.
They don't want any interest in us.
No, that is the law. You are not allowed to go anywhere near that island.
So why are
that's
they checking on them?
So that's this guy that John did the story about left this stuff at a nearby island.
Oh, no.
He didn't actually go to the island.
Yes, he did. Did you
No.
hear the story?
Yeah, he was on the island.
Oh,
The
he was
island.
on that. Oh, I thought you said a nearby island.
No.
Oh, okay. I apologize.
He went to Boonga Boonga.
Somebody has an ad campaign for like the marketing group for North Sentinel Island. There's got about 6 guys on the beach with
This a long
the arrows.
story?
North Sentinel Island. F around and find out.
How about you're at sea on an ocean freighter?
Oh no!
And she goes down, and you get a life raft, and you're adrift for months, and suddenly you see land. And you're thanking God. Oh my God, I'm going to be saved.
Months.
And then they come down and they just shoot the hell out of you.
Yeah.
That'd be bad luck, wouldn't it?
Is anybody else impressed that he had an inflatable kayak?
No, those are very common.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that was the least of my wonders about that story.
I would, that's not a bad idea, Chris. We should take those in our overhead luggage for long flights over the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
That'd
We're
be a
going
good
down.
idea.
Not with me, you're not.
Anyway, a great way to gain control of these people and get them under our wing and our tutelage would be just drop off some booze, right?
Yeah. I don't want them
apparently
under.
they want
I love the fact that they want to be alone. Just let them be.
They are prospective Democratic voters.
Yes,
we
they
need
are.
their vote.
Yep.
The unfortunate part, I just read more about those 2 fishermen I told you about that they killed and buried.
Yeah.
You know how they got there?
Uh-oh.
They were fishing. They tied their raft up because they wanted to take a nap.
Yeah.
The raft came loose while they were sleeping. The raft floated
There
all
you
the way
go.
onto the beach.
Oh,
the guys
no.
grabbed him, killed him, and,
Oh.
and buried him.
Wow.
So,
Dang.
That's a. What's the name of the island?
Bunga Bunga.
the island.
North Sentinel Island?
I don't think it did. It have a
Yeah,
name?
Sentinel. Yep.
Sentinel.
The Sentinese.
That's where they would have played Bunga Bunga.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't want to
first-
go that way.
But
Yeah,
first,
right.
Bunga Bunga.
Okay.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. What?
You got something for me?
Well, no, I have your garage door guy.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody needs a guy for. We got guys. And we got a garage door guy. Precision Door, Minnesota. Precision Door, MN is your garage door guy. Prompt service, and it's the best, according to the GLers, including myself. 612-263-6985. They'll be there on the double. And they try to get the job done with that one visit. They don't usually have to run back to the headquarters for a nut and bolt. They carry that stuff with them. Also, if you're in the market for a new door, they have models of doors in every budget. They send out a garage door designer. That consultation is absolutely free. These people, Precision Door, don't charge more for weekends. They serve western Wisconsin, the entire metro, and they are top notch. If you get a new door now, by the way, they're throwing in the motor for it. That's a value of more than $760. You can book online a service appointment or a new door consultation at precisiondoormn.com. That's one word, precisiondoormn.com. Or just go to that contact number you should have by now, 612-263-6985, Precision Door MN.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Don't forget to upgrade your town council membership to an annual one, and that means you will be eligible to become the GLer of the week. You get a big shout out from the mayor on the Friday episode of the podcast, and you can win that wonderful gift box from our friends at Masters Maples and mastersmaples.com. Not a town council member yet? Then get on it. Go to garagelogic.com and learn more, Joe.
Deep in Montana's remote wilderness lies the Sage Wall, a stunning megalithic structure composed of massive granite blocks intricately stacked in a straight line extending 275 feet, reaching up to 25 feet high, with some blocks weighing 91 tons. It is believed that the wall continues with an additional 15 feet underground. This formation appears to have precise interlocking stones resembling ancient masonry found worldwide. This has been discovered, in 1996? Why are we only hearing about this wall now?
Yeah.
Despite its remarkable features, the Sage Wall has remained hidden for centuries, covered by dense foliage on private land owned by Christopher Borton and Linda Welsh. Its discovery occurred when the landowners cleared their heavily forested property, revealing the wall and sparking scientific interest. The site drew comparisons to megalithic structures in Peru, Egypt, and other regions due to its angular formations and mysterious knobs on the stones, which are common in ancient constructions globally. Well, this is obviously aliens that did this.
What is the Sage
There's not a
Wall?
question about that. The wall's construction raises numerous questions about the people who built it. The precision and scale of the stonework indicate a deep understanding of mathematics and astronomy. Well, these were visitors, leading some experts to speculate that the Sage Wall might have served multiple purposes. It could have been a ceremonial site, a defensive structure, or even an astronomical observatory designed to track celestial events. The alignment of certain stones with solstices and equinoxes supports the latter theory, hinting at a complex understanding of the cosmos by its builders, who were aliens. These had to be aliens. The discovery of the Sage Wall is challenging the conventional timeline of human activity and architectural development in the region. This is in Montana.
Why haven't people defaced it?
Well, I don't know, Matt. I don't know.
I mean, you get those morons that...
Previously, such advanced construction techniques were not believed to exist in North America during this period. The site could potentially lead to a reevaluation of the technological and cultural advancements of prehistoric civilizations on this continent, offering a new perspective on the ingenuity and sophistication of ancient peoples. Well, what the hell is this thing?
Is it like Indiana Jones? Like if you hit the special rock and push it in, a doorway opens up and there's something behind it?
No, I don't think it's like that, Matt.
It's on private property, and it costs $99 to get on the trail to hike up to it and see it. That's why it hasn't been defaced.
Hey, they got a bathroom.
And the old question, same as with the pyramids, is how did you lift these rocks?
Yeah.
How did you do it? And my answer is aliens did it.
It had to have been.
Yeah, because they had magic ways.
What's their message?
I don't know, but it's an impressive looking wall. I'm looking at a picture of it. Mother of God.
If you would like to visit this, continue westbound on I-90 past Bozeman.
Past Bozeman, okay.
Take the Highway 2 exit at Whitehall, Montana, and travel another few miles west, and you will come upon it. It's on private property. Yeah. Just south of I-90.
So are these people, they've opened it up, it's kind of a side gig for them, huh? Money?
From the looks of their website, it might be their main gig.
I'll be damned.
You don't tell me.
You don't tell me. Only because they come to us all the way from...
Wait, do you think the Sage Wall, like the Berlin Wall, we just drove around it?
Yeah.
Back in the old days, yeah.
Joe, I don't want to bring up a sore subject with you, but
I'm going to do it.
But I'm gonna anyway.
and no offense intended.
Yeah.
But I've been getting a lot of complaints about your ice out business, and people think that at the very least you should include a few lakes that aren't in the Twin Cities, the traditional democratically voting Twin Cities of Minnesota. So I went on a search on your behalf for you and your program. It turns out Mille Lacs has a detailed history of ice in and ice out dates.
I'll be glad to throw in Mille Lacs.
And on this date in 2021, the ice went out on Lake Mille Lacs.
Well, I'd be more than happy to have you add that every day when I do the.
It's your show and it's your bit, and I think you should probably take that and run with it.
It's not a bit. It's to show that things haven't really changed much.
It's a known time killer. It kills about 30 seconds every episode.
That's not its intention.
What about that little round lake in Itasca County?
Yeah, the one with the island?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Include that.
Only because they come to us all the way from Marloth Park in Pumalanga Province. Now, this is being sent a little early due to we'll be on safari today in the Kruger National Park.
Humble brag.
So he sent
Humble brag.
this early.
Wow.
It was on this day.
Joe, today is April 7th.
In 1846. I remember this day. The St. Paul Post Office was established in Henry Jackson's store. It was on this day.
April 7th.
In 1866, in Washington, D.C., the Beaufort Ojibwe signed a treaty ceding their lands to the St. Louis and Couchiching counties and establishing the Nett Lake Reservation. And finally, it was on this day.
Joe, today's April 7th.
Right on this day in 1924, a warrant was issued for the arrest of Joseph Friedman, operator of the Tower Theater in St. Paul, where he had shown clips of the Dempsey-Gibbons boxing match. I believe that took place in Montana. Well, it did. I'll say it right here. Tommy Gibbons, a St. Paulite who later became Ramsey County Sheriff, went 15 rounds with Dempsey in Montana on the 4th of July, 1923. Because boxing was illegal in some states, interstate shipment of some pictures was outlawed, and Friedman was charged with receiving and exhibiting fight films in violation of federal law.
Wow. Serious stuff.
Yeah. That was right in Montana. Boy, they were outside. It was hot. Big crowd.
Yeah.
And on this day,
On April 7th.
in Minnesota sports disappointment history, on this day,
April 7th.
in 1977, the North Stars lost to Buffalo in the first round of the playoffs, 2-0.
Oh.
Yeah. And we're headed for more of that. You'll be hearing more of those hockey losses.
Hey.
What do you say?
The guy did a science experiment.
I got a lot
Coming
to
up
say about
on
it. I've been doing research.
All right.
Yes, he has been occupying my time.
Thank you, GLers.
Yes, thank you indeed. And please do us a favor. Hit the subscribe button. It's right there on the Garage Logic YouTube channel, because on that YouTube channel, you can watch the show each and every single day starting right around noon. You can also see full segments, video shorts, behind-the-scenes footage in some cases, but it's all there for you. Just search for Garage Logic on YouTube. I'll take care of your mics, fellas. Don't worry about it. You can also follow us along on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And sign up for the Daily Logician. It's an email, and it comes right to your inbox each and every single day. And it includes the most recent episode of the podcast.